Let me tell you about my Uncle Gerald. Gerald retired at 62, filed for Social Security the very next morning, I'm pretty sure he was still in his pajamas, and proudly told the whole family he was locking in his retirement income. He was thrilled. He felt like he'd beaten the system. He hadn't beaten anything. He'd just given the government a coupon that said, "Please pay me significantly less money for the rest of my life." And the wild part? He's 81 now, still collecting. Based on a $2,000 primary insurance amount, if he lives into his early 90s, say 92 or 93, the total difference between claiming at 62 versus waiting until 70 could approach $150,000 in lifetime benefits. Uncle Gerald is a good man. He just didn't know the math, and that's exactly what we're fixing today. Welcome back. I'm Matt. Today we're talking about the Social Security retirement trap. The math most people never learn, why the take-it-early instinct is often flat-out wrong, and how to actually run the numbers so you don't accidentally hand the government a six-figure discount on your own retirement. If you've ever said or heard someone say, "I want to get my money before it runs out," stick around. We need to talk. Section 1. How Social Security actually works. All right, let's start from the foundation, because I find that a lot of people understand Social Security the same way they understand how their car engine works, vaguely and mostly wrong. Here's the deal. Social Security calculates your benefit based on your 35 highest earning years. It runs those earnings through a formula called the AIM, the Average Indexed Monthly Earnings, and then it spits out something called your Primary Insurance Amount, or PIA. Your PIA is the benefit you'd receive if you claim at exactly your full retirement age, which, depending on your birth year, is somewhere between 66 and 67. Now here's where people start getting into trouble. You don't have to claim at full retirement age. You can claim as early as 62, or you can wait all the way until 70. And the difference between those two choices is enormous. If you claim at 62, your benefit is reduced by about 25 to 30% compared to your full retirement age benefit. Permanently. That reduction doesn't go away when you turn 67. It doesn't go away ever. It's baked in for life. On the flip side, if you wait past your full retirement age, you earn what's called delayed retirement credits. Every year you wait past your full retirement age, your benefit goes up by 8% per year. Guaranteed. That's an 8% annual return backed by the federal government, which, and I mean this, is a better guaranteed return than almost anything else you'll find in the financial world. So let's put some actual numbers to this, so it's not abstract. Say your full retirement benefit, your PIA, is $2,000 a month. If you claim at 62, you'd get roughly $1,400 a month. If you claim at 67, your full retirement age, you get your full $2,000. If you wait until 70, you get about $2,480 a month. That's a difference of $1,080 per month, $12,960 per year between claiming at 62 versus 70. And yes, before you say it, I know, you have to live long enough for the math to work in your favor when you wait, which brings us to the break-even analysis, and this is where it gets really interesting. Section 2, the break-even analysis. When does waiting actually pay off? The big argument for claiming early is, what if I don't live that long? I want to get my money. It's a fair concern. It's emotionally understandable, but let's do the actual math, because feelings aren't a retirement strategy. Here's how the break-even works. If you claim at 62, you start collecting sooner, more checks right from the start, but each check is smaller, permanently smaller. If you wait until 70, you collect fewer checks, but each one is significantly bigger. The question is, at what age does the person who waited actually come out ahead in total dollars collected? Let's use a $2,000 PIA as our example. That's your primary insurance amount, what you'd receive at your full retirement age of 67 if you were born in 1960 or later. Person A claims at 62 and collects $1,400 a month, a 30% reduction that is locked in for life. Person B waits until 70 and collects $2,480 a month, a 24% bonus on top of their full benefit, thanks to delayed retirement credits of 8% per year. From age 62 to 70, Person A collects for 8 years. That's 96 months at $1,400. Total collected, about $134,400. Person B collected zero in that time. They're behind, way behind. But starting at 70, Person B is pulling in $2,480 a month versus Person A's $1,400. That's $1,080 more every single month. Now here's where people need to slow down and look at the actual scoreboard. At age 80, after 10 years of both collecting, Person A has received $134,400 plus another $168,000 for a total of $302,400. Person B has collected $297,600. Person A is still ahead, but only by about $4,800, a razor-thin margin after 18 years. By age 81, Person B has fully caught up and crossed over, and from that point forward, Person B pulls ahead by $1,080 every single month for the rest of their life, especially for those who live into the 90s. So the math is clear. If they die at or before roughly 80 to 81, Person A wins. They collected more total dollars. The early claiming decision would have been the right one. But here's the thing that stops people cold when I say it out loud. According to the CDC's most recent data, released in January 2026, U.S. life expectancy just hit an all-time high of 79 years overall, 81.4 years for women and 75.8 years for men. And that's life expectancy from birth. The numbers shift significantly once you've already made it to retirement age. According to the CDC's 2024 figures, a 65-year-old American can expect to live an additional 19.7 years on average. That puts them at 84 to 85. Women at 65 are looking at roughly 20.8 more years. Men at 65, about 18.4 more years. So statistically, and I want to be careful here because statistics aren't destiny, but statistically, most people who are healthy at retirement age will live well past their Social Security break-even point. Most people will end up ahead by waiting. Here's the cruel irony in all of this. The people who most need their money to last, the healthy ones, the ones who will live the longest, are often the exact people who claim early out of fear, and they end up with the smallest possible checks precisely when they are oldest, most vulnerable, most likely to face serious medical costs, and least able to make up the difference. And yet nearly a third of Americans still claim at 62, the earliest possible moment. Why? Because the math isn't instinctive. Taking something now feels better than waiting for more later. It's just human nature. It's the same reason people eat the whole bag of chips instead of saving some for tomorrow. We are not naturally wired for delayed gratification. But your 80-year-old self is going to have opinions about the choices your 62-year-old self made, and those opinions are going to come with a dollar sign. Now, does claiming early ever make sense? Yes, if you have serious health conditions at 62. If your family history suggests a shorter life, if you genuinely need the income and have no other options, the math actually supports early claiming in those cases. But if you're healthy, active, and your parents made it into their 80s, the numbers are telling you to wait. Section 3. The income tax trap nobody talks about. All right, here's the part most people completely miss, and honestly, this is the part that makes my eye twitch a little. Your Social Security benefit might be taxable. I know. You paid into this system your whole working life, you're getting your own money back, and now Uncle Sam wants a cut of it. Welcome to America, friend. Here's how it works. The IRS uses something called your combined income to figure out whether you owe taxes on your Social Security. Combined income is your adjusted gross income plus any non-taxable interest plus half of your Social Security. And here are the thresholds for as of 2025. Individual filers. If your combined income is below $25,000, your Social Security is tax-free. Great news. If it's between $25,000 and $34,000, up to 50% of your benefits may be taxable. If it's above $34,000, up to 85% of your benefits may be taxable. For married couples filing jointly, those thresholds are $32,000 and $44,000. Now here's the trap within the trap. Those thresholds have never been adjusted for inflation.
Congress set them back in 1983 and 1993. They haven't moved since. So every year, inflation quietly pushes more and more retirees over those lines, and more of their Social Security gets taxed. What does this mean for your claiming strategy? It means that if you're going to have significant retirement income, pension, 401k withdrawals, rental income, you need to think hard about how your Social Security benefit interacts with your tax bracket. Sometimes claiming early actually helps you manage your tax situation better. Sometimes waiting and doing Roth conversions before you claim is a smarter play. The point is, there's no one-size-fits-all answer. Anyone who tells you to just take it at 62 or always wait until 70 without looking at your specific situation is giving you bumper sticker advice for a calculus problem. Section 4. The spousal benefit strategy most couples ignore. Okay, if you're married, I need you to pay very close attention right now because this is probably the highest value section of this entire video. Social Security has a spousal benefit. If your spouse earns significantly more than you during their career, you may be entitled to up to 50% of their full retirement age benefit, whichever is greater between your own benefit and the spousal benefit. Now that alone isn't news. Most people have heard of spousal benefits. But here's what most couples totally blow past. There is a strategy where the lower earning spouse claims early, say at 62 or 64, to bring some income into the household. Meanwhile, the higher earning spouse waits as long as possible, ideally to 70, to maximize their own benefit. Why does this matter so much? Because of survivor benefits. When one spouse passes away, the surviving spouse gets to keep the larger of the two benefits. If the higher earner claimed at 62 and locked in a reduced benefit, the surviving spouse is stuck with that reduced benefit for the rest of their life. But if the higher earner waited until 70 and built up the maximum possible benefit, the survivor inherits that bigger inflation-adjusted check for potentially 10, 15, 20 more years. I've seen couples where this difference adds up to hundreds of thousands of dollars in lifetime income. And yet I can't tell you how many people I've spoken to who both claimed at 62 because, and this is a direct quote from someone at a dinner party, we wanted to travel while we still could. Look, I love travel. I am not anti-vacation, but maybe there's a middle ground between both claim at 62 and take out a second mortgage to fund your Mediterranean cruise. This is why the survivor benefit conversation is non-negotiable for married couples. Sit down, model both scenarios, and understand exactly what the long-term stakes are before you click the claim button. Section 5. What about Social Security running out? I get this question constantly. Matt, should I just take my Social Security now before it runs out? Okay, let's deal with this. The Social Security Trust Fund is projected to face a shortfall around 2033 to 2035 if Congress does nothing. If that happens, benefits would be reduced by roughly 20 to 25%, not eliminated, not gone, reduced. And here's the key thing. Historically, Congress has stepped in. Every time Social Security has faced a crisis, most famously in 1983, they've made changes, raised the payroll tax, adjusted benefits, tweaked the full retirement age. But while reforms are likely, the exact structure is uncertain. Could benefits change? Yes. Should you be aware of the risk? Absolutely. Should you let fear of a potential future cut drive you to claim 8 to 10 years early and permanently reduce your benefit? Almost certainly no. If a 25% cut happens in the future, a benefit of $2,480 per month becomes $1,860. A benefit of $1,400 per month becomes $1,050. The person who waited is still ahead. The math doesn't disappear just because the future is uncertain. Panic is not a strategy. Look, Social Security is not complicated once you understand the math, but the math is counterintuitive, the rules are layered, and there's a whole industry of noise out there. People telling you to claim early, people telling you to always wait, people telling you the whole program is about to implode. The truth is in the numbers. Your numbers. Your health, your savings, your spouse's situation, your tax bracket. Uncle Gerald still calls me sometimes to talk about football and complain about his knee. He's happy. He made the decision that felt right to him at the time with the information he had. But I always wish he'd known then what we know now. You have that advantage. Use it. If this video helped you, do me a favor. Hit that like button and subscribe so you don't miss the next one. I've got a video coming up on exactly how to think about Roth conversions before you hit retirement, which pairs perfectly with everything we talked about today. Until next time, go run the numbers.